In post-war Britain, the halls of power weren't just shaken by politics, they were rocked by sex, spies, and total corruption. It started with the state-sponsored homophobia of the Montagu-Wildeblood trial, before escalating into a Cold War nightmare with the Vassal affair. Then came the atomic bomb of political scandals, the Profumo affair, closely followed by the shocking, suppressed underworld ties of the Boothby-Cray cover-up. These are the 4 explosive secrets that nearly brought down the British establishment. Let's dive in. Picture Britain in 1954. The state has declared a quiet war on private lives. Homosexual acts are strictly illegal, and the police are hunting for high-profile scalps. Enter Edward, Lord Montagu, a wealthy young aristocrat. Alongside him stand Michael Pitt Rivers and Peter Wildeblood, a sharp journalist for the Daily Mail. They are about to face a courtroom drama that will shake the nation to its core. The charges are heavy: conspiracy and gross indecency after a small gathering at Montagu's secluded beach hut. The prosecution parades 2 Royal Air Force servicemen who testify against them to save themselves. The courtroom at Winchester is packed, the air is thick with judgment. Montagu maintains his innocence. Wildeblood takes a brave, unprecedented step, openly speaking about his identity in a system designed to silence him. The verdict lands like a blow. Wildeblood gets 18 months, Montagu and Pitt Rivers get 12. The state thinks it has won. Instead, it has sparked a public backlash. The blatant injustice and heavy-handed police tactics outrage ordinary citizens. Wildeblood writes a landmark book from his experience, forcing the government to launch an inquiry. The 1954 trial cracks the door open, leading directly to the Wolfenden Report and a historic change in British law. What was meant to bury a community instead gave it a voice. In 1954, John Vassall was a young British civil servant working at the British Embassy in Moscow. He was also gay, at a time when homosexuality was illegal in Britain and could destroy a person's career and reputation. The Soviet KGB exploited that vulnerability. Vassall was lured to a party where he was photographed in compromising sexual situations with other men. The photographs became a weapon. The KGB threatened to expose him unless he cooperated, and Vassall later said he felt he had no choice but to become a spy. But Vassall's story is more complicated than simply calling him a traitor. Historical evidence suggests that blackmail played a major role in his recruitment. At the same time, investigators found that he later accepted payments and continued spying, making his motives a subject of debate. In September 1962, after intelligence from a Soviet defector helped point British security services toward him, Vassall was arrested as he left the Admiralty. He confessed and was charged with espionage. At his trial, Vassall pleaded guilty and was sentenced to 18 years in prison. His case caused a huge political scandal and contributed to growing concerns about Britain's security procedures during the Cold War. John Vassall's story therefore raises a difficult question. Was he primarily a willing traitor, or a vulnerable man trapped by a system that criminalized his sexuality and allowed his private life to become a weapon against him? London, 1961. At a wealthy estate called Cliveden, the British War Minister John Profumo meets a 19-year-old model named Christine Keeler in the swimming pool. She was introduced by Stephen Ward, a society osteopath with high society connections and dark secrets. But there is a twist. Christine is also sleeping with Yevgeny Ivanov, a naval attaché who just happens to be a Soviet spy. Sex, politics, and the Cold War are now swimming in the exact same pool. Fast forward to 1963. Whispers turn into headlines when a jealous lover fires gunshots at a door in Wimpole Mews, the flat where Christine and her friend, fellow 18-year-old showgirl Mandy Rice Davies, hang out. The press sniffs out a major scandal. Cornered by rumors, John Profumo stands up in the House of Commons and swears under oath that nothing improper happened. He lies. The government believes him, until they don't. Weeks later, Profumo confesses the truth, resigns in total disgrace, and shatters the conservative government. The trial becomes a circus. Stephen Ward is scapegoated by the establishment and tragically takes his own life before the verdict. But Christine Keeler and Mandy Rice Davies become overnight global icons of the swinging 60s. When Mandy is told in a crowded courtroom that a prominent lord denies having an affair with her, she delivers the ultimate deadpan, iconic response. Well, he would, wouldn't he? Profumo spends the rest of his life doing silent penance through charity work. The old, stiff British establishment is broken forever. July 1964. A headline in the Sunday Mirror sends shockwaves through Great Britain. The picture we must not publish. The article exposed an unholy alliance between a prominent member of the British House of Lords and a ruthless kingpin of London's gangland. It hinted at blackmail, illegal gay orgies, and a complete breakdown of national security. This is the story of the Boothby-Cray cover-up. In 1964, homosexuality was still a severe criminal offense in the UK, punishable by years in prison. Lord Boothby had a dangerous preference for what was then called rough trade, and he found it in Ronnie Cray. In exchange for introducing the Crays to influential politicians and aristocrats, Ronnie supplied Boothby with young men and absolute protection. It was a perfect, highly illegal symbiosis of high society and low-life crime. When the Sunday Mirror got the proof, the British establishment went into full panic mode. Just a year prior, the Profumo affair had nearly brought down the government. They could not survive another massive sex scandal. Behind closed doors, the machinery of the state went to work. The cover-up was swift and total. Boothby wrote a fierce denial to the Times. Terrified of a massive libel lawsuit and intense political retaliation, the Sunday Mirror backed down. The newspaper issued a public apology, fired its editor, and paid Boothby a massive settlement. Simultaneously, Scotland Yard's active investigation into the Boothby-Cray network was mysteriously halted. Buried deep within the archives, the truth was suppressed, leaving the Cray twins untouchable for 4 more violent years. The 1964 Boothby affair proved that when the criminal underworld threatens to expose the secrets of the ruling class, the establishment will protect its own, at any cost. 4 shocking secrets nearly brought down the British establishment during the 1950s and 60s, from the unjust Montague-Wildeblood trial and the Cold War blackmail of the Vassal affair, to the explosive web of sex and spies in the Profumo affair and the dangerous Boothby-Cray cover-up. These scandals shattered the public's trust in the ruling class forever. Which of these stories surprised you the most? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into history. See you in the next video.